All right, so we are previewing tomorrow's Jets game with the Jets beat writer at the Star-Ledger and NJ.com. Connor Hughes joins us. Connor, good to see you once again, buddy.
Yeah, good to see you too. I'm happy to be back.
Well, here we are. The season's about to begin, and we're already dealing with injury concerns, and a big one on the defensive side of things for the Jets in David Harris. Now, he is officially listed as questionable. The NFL eliminated the probable rule this last year. So if this were last year, would Harris be probable?
If you ask me, I'd say probably. Like in my personal opinion, yeah, probably he would probably be probable last year. We did ask Todd Bowles that. We said, you know, and because this is essentially going to be the case every single week now. Whenever somebody's listed as questionable, you're always going to ask the coach, well, if this was last year, would he be probable? Because you kind of got to get an idea of if he's going to play or not. So when we asked Todd Bowles that, basically what he said was that, no, he is truly questionable. This really is a 50-50 opportunity. Could play, could not play. And speaking to David Harris in the locker room, when we got a chance to talk to him on Friday, you got that inkling as well. Now, David's not a guy who's going to say too much. He's not a guy that's going to open up his heart and tell you truly what's going on. Seriously, I wrote this earlier. If you can get a 10-word sentence out of him, that's an accomplishment.
Right, you deserve a medal.
Exactly, yeah. So, but I kind of figured we could twist the question a little bit to try to get something else out of him. And I said, you know, David, it's Friday, game's on Sunday. You've been in the league for a while, since 2007. Is this the worst you've felt on a Friday before a game? And he said it's up there. And so that kind of tells you that this isn't just some simple knack. You know, he said it's sore, he said it's tight, and I personally believe that there is a pretty good shot that he may not play on Sunday.
Todd Bowles says that they will not be putting Rivas on A.J. Green exclusively, that he's going to be getting a little help. I mean, at this age, Darrell Rivas, one of the best corners to ever play the game, but have we seen the end of Rivas Island? Is there no longer the time where you throw 24 out there and forget about that side of the field?
Darrell Rivas, at 31 years old, going into 2016, is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. He's still, at this age, one of the best. The difference between Darrell Rivas in 2016, Darrell Rivas in 2011, Darrell Rivas in 2010, is that he's no longer the best cornerback in the NFL. So he's going to need some safety help. Now, against guys, your normal number ones, he can still shut him out. He can still go one-on-one with him. He can still follow him around the field. But the faster guys, the more athletic guys, the guys that are in the prime of their career, A.J. Green, Odell Beckham, DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, those guys that are the upper echelon now, those top 3-4 wide receivers in the NFL now, you're probably going to have to shade a safety over there just to make sure. Rivas can still play him. Rivas can still go toe-to-toe with him, but he's not going to erase them.
It's their speed that has always hurt him more than anything. A.J. Green is certainly a physical guy, and he can handle the physical guys. But then you add this extra element to what the Bengals like to do, and that's something the Jets have always struggled with, and that's covering the running backs coming out of the backfield. Giovanni Bernard is a guy who likes to catch passes. We've seen so far in the preseason, the Bengals are incorporating him a little bit more in the C routes, trying to get him a little bit more involved in the passing game. Is that going to be a major concern for the Jets defense? In
2015, yeah. I mean, you could have told the Jets that a swing pass was coming, that they were going to throw to the running back, and they still couldn't stop it. Yeah. I mean, they were dreadful. Demario Davis, probably the culprit on more than a handful of those times. He's now gone. He's in Cleveland. The Jets are replacing him in their base package with Aaron Henderson, who is a more athletic player than Demario Davis is. He can do a little bit more than Demario Davis is. But the difference maker from 2015 Jets to 2016 Jets is Darren Lee. The Jets took him and his 4.47 40 speed.
So that's it. You add speed.
Yes.
The defense needed to get speedier at the linebacker position, and they addressed that. You feel like that's going to counteract what these offenses have been using, getting the backfield in the passing game.
Well, that's what Lee did in college. When Lee was in Ohio State, they would use him to cover the running backs out of the backfield. They would use him to cover tight ends. They would use him, believe it or not, to cover slot receivers. I mean, they used him everywhere in Ohio State or at Ohio State. So now that he's with the Jets, it's a little bit tougher. I mean, you're not facing Rob Gronkowski at Ohio State every day, but you're still, he's going, that's going to be his job. I mean, that's why they're putting him in there in the nickel package, is because he is a guy that is special, or that specializes in coverage and his coverage ability. He's got the speed to stick with him. He's got the athletic ability to stick with him, and that's something that the Jets did not have last year that now they do. So I spoke to Darren this week. I said, are you ready for Giovanni Bernard? He said, yeah, and I asked him what's the key to stopping him, and he said, you got to get your hands on him. If you let him play in space, he's going to beat you up. You got to get your hands on him. You got to stick him. You got to hit him. And if you can do that, then you can have some success. So how much is he going to see Giovanni? I don't know if it's going to be every single time, because it's not. Because there's no, if David Harris plays, Darren Lee's not going to be on the field every single time. But when they are one-on-one, the Jets are probably going to be able to neutralize him, mostly because of Lee.
If there is a mystery on the offensive side, it's how Matt Forte is incorporated into this offense. We know that he likes to catch passes. He caught more than 100 balls, 2 years ago for the Chicago Bears out of the backfield. So how do you see Chan Gailey and Ryan Fitzpatrick working him into what they want to do?
They're going to have fun with him. I mean, that's kind of the way, the best way to describe it. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick, since Ryan Fitzpatrick has got here, because he missed OTAs and mini camp, and then Forte missed 2 weeks of training camp, so they've kind of had to build some friendship awfully quick.
Right, it's all a big question mark for all of us right now.
And Fitzpatrick, I mean, he invited him over for a barbecue last weekend. He had
that solves all problems.
Yeah, I mean, they are trying to build that chemistry every way, but the way the Jets are going to use him is every way possible. The way that you saw Matt Forte used in Chicago is going to be similar to how the Jets use him. He's going to be their first and second down back. He's going to be motioned out and put into the slot and run that way. He's going to be a wide receiver. He's going to be used out of the backfield as a receiver. He's going to be used as a runner. The Jets are going to use him every which way all the time. And Chan Gailey was asked when he spoke this week, are you worried about limiting Matt Forte's touches? Because he is going to be 31. Are you worried about him breaking down? He said no. Right now, that is not a concern. It might be something we have to address later on in the year. It might be something that come week 8, come week 9, Forte goes to the coaches and says, guys, I'm a little sore. Let's fix it. But to start off the season, they're going to give him a ton of carries. He's going to get the full complement of what he would normally get, and the hope is that he's going to bring that other dimension to the offense that the Jets really haven't had since LaDainian Tomlinson left, and even LaDainian Tomlinson was an older guy at that time.
Well, it was important last year, Chris Ivory's ability to run the ball and take pressure off of Decker and Marshall. It almost kind of freed up the passing game a little bit because Ivory was so effective. It's going to be very important to see how Forte is involved in this offense. All right, so when we come back, I want to talk a little daily fantasy football with you, and Connor's going to tell us how picking a receiver that's somewhere around 80 in the rankings will help you win.